What is going on, folks? Pete Nova here with the Fast Draft channel. Super excited to be here with you guys today. We are going to go over a rookie draft. We're going to talk about where guys rank currently for me, and it's right here on the Fast Draft channel. All right, folks, we are rocking and rolling. The draft is all set and ready to go. I'm going to be drafting out of the 7-hole. If you're not familiar with the Rabbit, it is PPR format. There's only 8 players in each room. It is tournament style. Now, we already talked about this, but this draft did roll out before we got some declares. And so some players that are going to be in this class did not make it in this class because this tournament has already kicked off. But super excited to go over some players for you today. Talk about where I stand on some of these guys in this rookie class, and especially the wide receivers in this rookie class. You know, there is a lot of talk of, you know, is it Jordan Tyson? Is it Carnell Tate? Is it Mekhi Lemon? And as of late, it really seems like it is Mekhi Lemon for many. And spoiler alert, Mekhi Lemon is the wide receiver 1 for me. Carnell Tate goes off the board first for wide receivers, then Lemon, then Tyson. But the interesting thing with Jordan Tyson, as I get prepared to make my first pick here, is Jordan Tyson is, in my opinion, the most talented player of the wide receiver position in this class. And the biggest question mark with him, for why many are a little bit concerned with drafting him, is because of the injuries, right? Tyson has dealt with some injuries in his career, and it's kind of left some managers a little bit skeptical on how high they want to draft him. And so it's a big reason as to why he's, gone behind some in their rankings. Now, I'm up here. I like Omar Cooper. I think I can get him on the way back. So I'm going to go with Jardarian Price. I took Emmett Johnson, then I took Jardarian Price here. Jonah Coleman was there for me, but I am so Emmett Johnson is my number 2 for sure. Number 3 gets a little dicey between Jardarian Price, between Jonah Coleman. I didn't really love Jonah Coleman's season, this year in 2025. He did have a very, very good season in 2024. He's got a really good receiving profile. College yards per carry, 5.2. College dominator rating, 25.8. It's a really talented player in Jonah Coleman, but he just did not really have the greatest, season past. And so I'm kind of up and down with him on him and Jardarian Price. When I watch, I think Jardarian Price has better breakaway speed. Now, there were some talks as Jonah Coleman might have been injured, some people are saying, last year. But in 2025, I mean, he had 17 total touchdowns, which is insane, right? So you sit here and say, Pete, 17 total touchdowns. How are you going to tell me that was a down year for him? His yards per carry were down. And if you just watch the tape, he just didn't move as well, in my opinion, as he did the year prior. In 2024, he had 10 touchdowns. He also had 1,053 rushing yards, and he also did that with more carries too. So higher clip on a yards per carry, as well as just overall, more touches as well. He had almost 40 more rushing attempts that season. So I start the draft off with Emmett Johnson, Jardarian Price. We talked about the wide receivers, right? I mean, it goes Lemon, it goes Tate, it goes Tyson. For me, Casey Conception's ahead of Boston. I really do like Boston, but I look at Boston as a player that I think is better from an NFL standpoint than he is for fantasy. And so I have Conception ahead of Boston right now. Then I have him between him and Omar Cooper. I have them pretty close. So I get Omar Cooper here in the 3rd round at the 18th pick. And if you're thinking of a regular rookie draft, that would be the equivalent of a guy going, 18. I mean, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're talking about the 206 for Omar Cooper, which would be a steal for me. If I could get Omar Cooper, if anybody could get Omar Cooper, I would absolutely. That would be an absolute smash if you could get Omar Cooper there. But looking at it, then you have Brazel out of Tennessee. There's a lot of talk around Chris Brazel. A lot of people are saying that, people are focused on the helmet sticker and not the actual, uh, the actual player itself. And I can understand. I mean, there hasn't been a ton of great players, wide receivers that have come out of Tennessee. So I understand why people have some concern there. Dante Moore, that's very unfortunate for whoever's drafting on the 101 because he's obviously uh, not going to be in this class. But again, as I shared, there is, and same with Justice Haynes. This is why there's a lot of value. Sometimes people don't know these things. Chambliss as well. I mean, we're talking about three guys here. Chambliss is going back to college. It sounds like that meeting and hearing is today. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth completely, but it sounds like there's a good chance he's going back to college. So I take Jamari Taylor here. I really do like Jamari Taylor a lot. I feel like he's not getting talked about a ton, and I'll talk a little bit about Taylor more once I take this next pick, which is going to be Kevin Coleman Jr., who I had ranked extremely high. I mean, he's number 21 on my board here, and I get him at 34, which is a steal for me, in my opinion. But when you take a look at Jamari Taylor, he coming out of Virginia is a guy that had 321 runs in zone and then 225 in gap scheme. I like to look at their career stats more than I like to look at their senior season. I feel like it's more important getting that bigger sample size. And then I like to see, hey, the guys that progress as their careers go on. So I think that's important as well. But when you look at Jamari Taylor, 5.1 yards per carry, 24.05% missed tackle forced per carry. He had 70 carries of 10 or more runs, so an explosive rate of 12.56%. Yards after contact, 3.4, and yards after catch per reception, 7.7. Yards per route run is pretty high for a running back, 1.4. It actually puts him third among the top 15 running backs projected in this class. Jamie's in the house. What's going on, my man? How are you? Yes, I do have the glasses on tonight. I'm doing a Rocket solo show here, so I had to try to make sure I'm coming off as sharp, and the glasses do help in that regard. But yeah, I mean, so I really actually, this is probably one of my favorite hauls that I've gotten so far in these drafts. And man, my guy Adam Randall falls to me here. You could get a little bit weird and draft one of these quarterbacks in hopes that they get thrown in like a, in a pinch, right, due to an injury like Drew Aller, Clay Klubnik. But I went with Le'Veon Moss just because, I do have a lot of Adam Randall out of Clemson, and so I get a little bit of a different exposure there. But talking about some of these guys, Daniel Jeremiah did come out with his mock draft, and we talk about Jordan Tyson, for example, here. Jordan Tyson, Daniel Jeremiah has him mocked to the Carolina Panthers. I mean, man, that would be such a lift in that offense. I mean, you talk about an offense taking it to the next level. I mean, between Tenerell McMillan, having Tyson, you would have Jalen Coker, who a lot of people are very, very high on, who had a very, very good playoff game against the Rams, stepped up in a big spot. If he goes there, I would much prefer that landing spot than Carnell Tate's with the Jets, which is where Daniel Jeremiah projects Tate. And so yeah, I mean, that would not be the worst thing in the world. So I really, really do like that. I also want to say you can get some of these rookies at very good cost in the Rabbit draft over on Fast Draft. So before we continue, I will go ahead and let's hear a word from the Podfather.
They say best ball hasn't changed in 5 years. Until the Rabbit. Clean, easy, $50,000 prize pool that you can actually win. Show the ownership, show the exposure right there in the draft room. We're talking about a full best ball draft. 20-second time clock takes 20 minutes. And use your host promo code or FAST for a $50 deposit match when you sign up. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Yeah, and we talk about the Rabbit, a really, really fun format. Both of these are great formats on Fast Draft. Unique third round reversal. Uh, it's cumulative. Um, so a lot of fun. And then let's talk about Makai Lemon, though. So we're talking about the three wide receivers here. Makai Lemon goes 13 to the Los Angeles Rams. If that were to happen, and I'm gonna go ahead and share the mock draft from Daniel Jeremiah here. But you have, and I really do like Colton Hood a lot. I know that's random, but I do like him a lot. Makai Lemon though to the Rams, which is funny because it's Atlanta's pick, and I mean I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but man, Makai Lemon going to the Rams would be a lot of fun. He would ultimately, I mean, he's my number one wide receiver in this class. I would absolutely love that landing spot. Absolutely love it. He is similar to Puka in that, they can move him around in the formation a lot. And so it would just give the Rams a ton of versatility. And then if you're telling me, let's just assume this plays out and Carnell Tate goes to the Jets and you have Jordan Tyson to the Panthers, I would rather take a chance on Jordan Tyson over Carnell Tate. Um, you look at what the Jets have done with Garrett Wilson. I can't imagine putting a guy like Carnell Tate there would, I mean, you're hoping that two guys can be supplied enough volume in a pretty weak offense when it comes to the quarterback position. I mean, I'm sure people are hoping and wishing that gets fixed. But then you have Denzel Boston here going to the Steelers. I don't want to say this is a overlapping skill set with DK Metcalf because Denzel Boston, his catch radius, his ability to catch contested, he's very, very good at the catch point. I mean, this guy, if you watch his tape, he's caught so many contested catches in the end zone. So he's just a huge target monster. And honestly, if you've watched DK Metcalf, he does not have the strongest hands and he does not catch the ball through contact nearly as well, as a guy his size, what you would expect. So that would be interesting. If Boston went there, though, he'd still be behind all three of those big guys. Let's see if Daniel Jeremiah. So you have Sadiq here. So we'll talk a little bit about Sadiq going to the 49ers. I mean, it'd be kind of interesting, right? I mean, George Kittle did sign the extension, but he does have the Achilles injury. It'd be hard not to like Sadiq, though. If he landed with the 49ers, I do talk about how I don't love spending up at the tight end position, especially if it's not in a premium. If Sadiq goes to the 49ers, there's been a lot of mock drafts I've been involved in and drafts in general. I mean, even in this draft, Sadiq goes 11. So fringe, just in the first round. I think that's pretty fair. I would have him ahead of Ty Simpson, who goes ahead of him in this class. But I think if we looked at where Sadiq went, I'd still have Price. I wouldn't have Simpson ahead of him. I'd have Conception. I'd have Boston. But if Boston went to Pittsburgh, let's assume that's correct, then I would probably prefer Sadiq over Boston. So you could probably slide Price, Conception, Johnson all up. And you're talking about Sadiq, if he lands with the 49ers, you're talking about a guy that I would say probably solidifies himself in the top 10. Now, some people might be worried about that because of Kittle, if they think that he comes back faster and healthier. But neither here nor there. So that's really all the rookies that we get in Daniel Jeremiah's, at least from the offensive side of the football, from a skill position that affects us for fantasy football. And of course, I'd be remiss if I did not talk about Jeremiah Love. So let's talk about Jeremiah Love. I mean, Jeremiah Love, he's pegged here to the Saints. I mean, this would really, really be a nice boost for this offense if Jeremiah Love went to the Saints. Jeremiah Love would be able to extend drives for them. Chris Olave would have a little bit less pressure, some of those other assets. And it's really a question, though, of what happens to Alvin Kamara, who signed an extension not last year, but midseason the year before, has some guaranteed money, has made it apparent he does not want to go anywhere else. He wants to stay in, with the Saints. But Jeremiah Love would be a really, really fun player on this offense. and he's extremely talented. We talk about Jeremiah Love and just taking a look at some of his statistics. I mean, Junior broke out as a sophomore at 19 years old. He's only 20. I mean, 6.6 yards per carry, 36 touchdowns. He caught the ball a ton. 62 catches is a very good sample size. Catches the ball away from his body, which is what you really like to see for the running backs. So he can make those adjustments and kind of continue to get upfield. Yards per route run, 1.6, which is the most of this class. 6 receiving touchdowns. I mean, he's very explosive player. 13.63 explosive percentage, which is, percentage of his runs that went for 10 or more yards. He had 74 of them. Missed tackles forced. He can make guys miss, right? 24.67%. And his yards after catch per reception, 10.5, which is stellar. Guy that can get upfield quickly, right? He doesn't, you see some of these running backs, they catch the ball, but they're not fluid enough to get upfield quickly. He has that ability, which is another tip or another feather in his cap. So extremely exciting player. I don't always love to fall in line with the consensus picks of this guy is the clear cut, but in a weak class, Love is the clear cut unless you have issues with the quarterback position and you want to go get Fernando Mendoza. I'm okay with that. You're likely not going to be able to tear down from 101 to 102 because that player likely knows that you're doing so to get Mendoza. So they probably know that Love is going to be available at the 102. So if you got the 101 and you want to take Mendoza, I'm okay with it, especially if you need help at the quarterback position, which is it's a pretty tough position to find sometimes when you're trying to trade for it. Now, there's a lot of talent at the position in general in fantasy, maybe not, real life quarterback play, but fantasy wise, there is a lot of talent there. But I would probably say I'm okay taking Mendoza. Jamie said, would love to the Saints boost Shuck's value, opening the Saints off extending drives, more touchdown. Yeah, I think that's a big thing, right? We talked about that yesterday on Player Profiler channel on the Dynasty stock market. That would be a big boost for everybody. Chris Olave gets more opportunities probably in the red zone to score touchdowns, and he had a very high target percentage in the red zone, one of the highest in the NFL last year. The more drives that they can extend, the more opportunity this offense will have, and the better this offense will be, and it should help everybody. I mean, there's rarely going to be a one-man show on offenses that like most offenses have a couple of guys eating. And so I'm okay with that. I would like Love to go there. That would be okay. I mean, I wouldn't want him to go to the Commanders, the one pick ahead of them. I just don't love the idea of a quarterback like Daniels who doesn't check the ball down a ton and a running quarterback. I wouldn't love it as much, to be completely honest with you. I don't really see anybody else. Browns aren't taking him, Giants. Titans, there's been some talk about it, but I think they continue to bolster the trenches or go at the wide receiver position because it's not that great of a talent at the wide receiver position in free agency, where with running backs, there is more in free agency this year. Maybe the Chiefs, if he gets to them, the next pick from the Saints, but they have a lot of other issues. I think they need to address the defense. Ruben Bain here and Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft is who was mocked there. I think they could use the help, but shoot, I mean, he goes to the Chiefs, Mahomes with the injury, Bieniemy is back, right? Maybe they have to try to establish a run game, right? This offense with the Chiefs has struggled tremendously to get a run game going the last 2 years. So I could absolutely see it, but I think they'll probably try to maybe go cheap at the position. If not, they'll draft somebody outside of the first round, but they have some holes. I don't think they should take a luxury pick, in the top 10, especially we don't know when they're going to be in the top 10 ever again in the Mahomes era, unless he gets hurt again. So I think at that point you go take a premier position, a cornerstone position, and that's why I don't think that they would take Love if he fell to them. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Nice quick show today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.